They say every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child. In 2012, a house fire in Derby, England claimed the lives of 6 innocent siblings. At first, the world wept for the grieving father, Mick Philpott. But as the smoke cleared, a chilling reality emerged. The fire wasn't an accident, and the grieving father was actually the puppet master of a deadly, greedy charade. To understand the tragedy of 2012, we have to go back to 1956. Mick Philpott didn't become a villain overnight. He spent decades refining his cruelty. By the age of 19, he had already begun a pattern of grooming younger, vulnerable women. His first victim was 15-year-old Kim Hill. What started as charm quickly devolved into a nightmare of physical torture. Philpott was a man who couldn't handle the word no. He once broke Kim's arm and kneecap with a hammer because she paid too much attention to a baby she was minding. He shot her in the groin with a crossbow because he thought her dress was too short. When Kim finally tried to leave him in 1978, Philpott's response was a preview of the carnage to come. He broke into her home and stabbed her 27 times. When her mother tried to save her, he stabbed her 11 times. Miraculously, both survived, but Philpott's coldness was already on full display. As he stood over their bleeding bodies, he told paramedics, "I wouldn't bother. I've done a good job on her." The first failure of justice was that Philpott was sentenced to 7 years for attempted murder but was released in just over 3. This slap on the wrist gave a psychopath the green light to keep going. By the early 2000s, Philpott had transformed his lifestyle into a bizarre, state-funded cult. He lived in a 3-bedroom council house with 2 women, his wife, Myrid, and his mistress, Lisa Willis. Between them, there were 11 children under one roof. But to Mick, these weren't children, they were cash cows. He refused to work, instead collecting over £25,000 a year in government benefits. He was an exhibitionist, appearing on The Jeremy Kyle Show and documentaries with MP Ann Widdecombe to demand a bigger house, effectively bragging about his lifestyle while his children lived in cramped, neglected conditions. In February 2012, the throuple collapsed. Lisa Willis, tired of the abuse, took her 5 children and moved out. For Mick, this wasn't an emotional loss, it was a financial catastrophe. Fewer children meant less benefit money and a weaker case for a larger mansion. Mick, Myrid, and a family friend named Paul Mosley hatched a plan so twisted it's hard to fathom. They decided to set fire to their own home while the children were sleeping. The plan was simple. Pour petrol through the letterbox and ignite it. Mick would heroically rescue the children through a window. They would frame Lisa for the arson to get her arrested and win back custody of the kids and the checks. The plan went wrong the second the match was struck. The petrol created an inferno that spread faster than Mick anticipated. Upstairs, the temperature climbed to a staggering 500 degrees Celsius, 932 degrees Fahrenheit. Mick's heroic rescue never happened. He didn't or couldn't get to them. Jade, 10, John, 9, Jack, 7, Jesse, 6, and Jaden, 5, died in their beds from smoke inhalation. Dwayne, 13, passed away in the hospital 2 days later. In the aftermath, Mick played the part of the victim, but he was a terrible actor. At a police press conference, he squeezed out forced tears that many found suspicious. In private, he was caught flirting with a female police officer and engaging in horseplay at the mortuary where his children's bodies lay. The police, sensing something was wrong, bugged the Philpotts' hotel room. They captured chilling audio of Mick coaching Myrid on her story, and even more disturbingly, the couple engaging in sexual acts with their accomplice Paul Mosley just days after the funeral. In 2013, the trio was found guilty of manslaughter. The judge noted that while they might not have intended to kill the children, their total obsession with money and control led to the tragedy. Mick Philpott, life sentence, minimum 15 years. Myrid and Paul Mosley, 17 years. Where are they now? In a move that sparked national outrage, Myriad was released in 2020 after serving only half of her sentence, followed by Paul Mosley in 2021. Only Mick remains behind bars, a man whose narcissism was so profound he burned his own legacy to the ground for a slightly larger government check. The Philpott case remains a grim reminder of what happens when a psychopath is enabled by the system and those around him. 6 children lost their lives because they were viewed as commodities rather than human beings. What do you think? Was the initial 1970s sentence the butterfly effect that led to this tragedy? And do you think Myriad deserved to be released so early? Let me know in the comments. If you found this deep dive insightful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more true crime stories. I'll see you in the next one.